There is an old saying, one that has existed across cultures, across centuries, across every civilization that has ever buried its dead. Let the dead rest. Most people hear that and think it's superstition, a relic of old religion, something people said before science explained the world. But what if it wasn't superstition at all? What if it was a warning? A warning that came from experience. What I am about to tell you happened to real people. People who did not believe in warnings. People who thought the past was just the past. They were wrong. Introduction. Throughout human history, people have disturbed ancient burial sites, sometimes for science, sometimes for curiosity, sometimes for reasons far less justifiable. Archaeologists have opened tombs sealed for thousands of years. Urban explorers have wandered into forgotten graveyards at midnight. Construction workers have accidentally broken through ancient burial grounds while laying foundations. And in each case, almost without exception, something followed. Now, I'm not here to tell you that curses are real. I'm not here to tell you that the dead can reach out and punish the living. But I am going to tell you what happened in 3 documented, real incidents. And I will let you decide what to believe. Because the one thing all 3 of these stories have in common is that nobody involved ever fully recovered. The problem. Here is what most people don't understand about ancient burial sites. To the people who built them, these were not just graves. They were sacred contracts, a promise made between the living and the dead. We will protect you. We will leave you in peace. We will not disturb what has been given to the earth. When archaeologists excavate ancient tombs, they wear gloves, use careful tools, document everything meticulously. And yet, many of them report strange things afterward. Unexplained illnesses, recurring nightmares, a persistent feeling of being watched. When amateurs disturb these places, without permission, without care, without respect, the consequences seem to be considerably worse. Is it psychological? Perhaps. The human mind is a powerful thing. Guilt and fear can create experiences that feel completely real. Or perhaps, some places carry a weight that science cannot yet measure. Some promises, once broken, cannot be undone. Story 1. The Archaeologist. The first story takes place in Egypt, 1922. You may already know part of this story. When archaeologist Howard Carter opened the tomb of the boy pharaoh Tutankhamun, he described the moment as unlike anything he had ever experienced. The air inside, sealed for over 3,000 years, rushed out past him. Cold. Ancient, wrong. What followed became known as the Curse of the Pharaohs. Within months of the tomb being opened, Lord Carnarvon, the man who had funded the entire excavation, died suddenly. A mosquito bite that became infected, rapidly and fatally. Then another member of the team died, and another. Within 7 years, 11 people directly connected to the opening of that tomb had died under unusual circumstances. Some young, some with no prior illness. Scientists offered explanations. Bacteria preserved in the tomb for thousands of years, toxic mold, airborne pathogens. These are reasonable explanations. But here is what those explanations don't account for. Inside the tomb, above the burial chamber entrance, there was an inscription. Translated, it read,
Death will come on swift wings to whoever disturbs the peace of the pharaoh. They saw that inscription. They entered anyway, and within 7 years, 11 of them were dead.
Story 2. The Urban Explorers. The second story is more recent and considerably more personal. In 2017, a group of 4 friends, urban explorers, decided to visit an abandoned churchyard in rural England. The church itself had been closed since the 1940s. The graveyard around it had been left untouched for decades. They went at night. Of course they did. They had cameras, flashlights, and, fatally, no respect for what they were walking into. For the first hour, nothing unusual happened. They photographed the old gravestones, read the inscriptions, took videos. Then one of them, let's call him Marcus, decided to do something the others told him not to. He found a grave, an old one, unmarked except for a simple stone cross. And he sat on it for a photograph. The others laughed nervously, told him to get up. He laughed too, and stayed there for another minute. They left an hour later. Nothing happened that night. But over the next 3 weeks, Marcus began to change. His friends noticed it first. He stopped sleeping. Not insomnia. He would lie in bed with his eyes open, staring at the ceiling, unresponsive, but awake. He stopped eating. He started showing up at places he had no memory of traveling to. His girlfriend would wake up at 3 a.m. and find him standing at the window, facing outside, not moving. When she touched his shoulder, he would turn around slowly and look at her like he didn't recognize her. 3 weeks after the graveyard visit, Marcus was admitted to a psychiatric facility. His diagnosis was a severe dissociative episode triggered by unknown causes. His friends went back to that graveyard, in daylight this time. They found the unmarked grave Marcus had sat on. And they did something they should have done the first time. They left flowers. They apologized out loud, feeling ridiculous doing it. Marcus began to improve the following week, slowly, gradually. He was discharged from the facility 6 weeks later. He has never spoken publicly about what he experienced during those 3 weeks. His friends say he refuses to discuss it entirely. The only thing he has ever said to one close friend, very quietly, was this: "Something came back with me, and it was very, very angry." Story 3. The construction site. The third story is the most disturbing of all, because it happened to ordinary people who had no choice in the matter. In 2009, a construction company began building a residential development on the outskirts of a small town in the American Midwest. Permits had been approved. Environmental surveys had been done. Everything was normal. 3 weeks into construction, the excavation team broke through something unexpected. Bones. Human bones. A large number of them. The site was immediately paused. Authorities were called. Archaeologists came to assess. Their conclusion: the site sat on top of a Native American burial ground. Pre-colonial, possibly over 500 years old. Legally, construction should have stopped permanently. The burial ground should have been protected. But the construction company had investors, deadlines, money on the line. And so, quietly, unofficially, the bones were removed, reburied elsewhere, off the record, and construction continued. The first families moved into the new homes 18 months later. Within a year, 3 separate families had reported the same thing, independently, without knowing about each other. Sounds of drumming at night, rhythmic, consistent, coming from below the floor. Objects moving in rooms no one was in. And one family, a couple with 2 young children, reported something that made authorities finally take notice. Both children, separately, on different nights, woke up screaming, saying the same thing. "The people under the floor are angry. They want to go home." The construction company was eventually investigated. The illegal removal of remains was discovered. The site was condemned. Every family was relocated. The land has never been built on again. It sits empty to this day. And people who live near that site say that on certain nights, you can still hear the drumming. Conclusion. 3 stories, 3 very different circumstances. An ancient pharaoh's tomb, an abandoned English churchyard, a Native American burial ground. Different cultures, different centuries, different people. And yet the same outcome every single time. Something responded. Whether you believe that was a literal curse, a psychological reaction, or something science hasn't named yet, something responded. I think the ancients understood something we have forgotten, that the dead are not simply gone, that the places they are left carry something of them, a weight, a presence, a claim on the earth they occupy. And when that claim is violated, when that sacred contract between the living and the dead is broken, the world has a way of responding, slowly, quietly, but with absolute certainty. Let the dead rest. It was never superstition. It was always a warning. I want to ask you something before you go. Have you ever been somewhere that felt wrong? An old building, a piece of land, a road that made the hairs on your neck stand up for no reason you could explain. Maybe that place had a history you didn't know about. Maybe something happened there long ago that left a mark. If you have a story like that, a place that felt wrong, an experience you've never been able to explain, tell me in the comments. Because I've been collecting these stories, and what I'm finding is that they follow a pattern that I intend to investigate further. If you want to follow that investigation, subscribe to Horror Nights. The dead have stories, and I intend to keep telling them. Good night.